purpose drive by local agencies to help those who are living on inadequate wages or who must be retrained in order to find work. One of the contributors to both these situations is a lack of proper education. But beyond these examples, much of our advanced all the time. The new teaching projects which is developed, it's very titled Minimath. This stands for Minimum Center. It is headed by hero of the Institute of Technology. The book editors, the assistants, have elementary schools in the nation. On the campus of the University of Minnesota. But because of the bulk of its staff, it necessarily thrives during the school year. Among our national agencies, $1.3 million from the National U.S. Department of Education. One of the projects is toward the college student who plans a geometry course on film, animation, for 2 semesters of study for the prospective teacher. Committee on the undergraduate of our colleges are not text material which becomes contained. The program is material which is interesting and because this geometry cartoon. 2 geometry films expected to be completed during the films among the 18 participants of the year. A team of material and its presentation film as supplied by 2 writing teams. Simple movement by using colored stick with angle. Of the program directly to the films is a correspondence for in-school education of teachers. Days went through it in this past month. And not forgetting our typical town, Squareville, this is basically how it fits with the new mathematics teaching.
Well, now in the United States, we're going to talk for the next few days about the imaginary town. And it is laid out like many, many American cities are. All the streets run straight.
As of this, Squareville is still a town, complete with mayor, his family, friends, and business associates. With the course of this class section, come to look more upon this outline graph, and thus have picked up one of the basic geometric tools. The teacher is Miss Helen Hungenecker from Lafayette, Louisiana Elementary School. Her pupils are 3rd and 4th graders, taking part in the summer laboratory session at Motley Elementary School in Minneapolis. This new mathematics program aims at teaching 3rd graders the use of graph paper and coordinates, which will allow them to visualize the operations of their arithmetic problems. Multiplication and division can then be taught on subsequent graphs.
This is Squareville. This is typical of many, many American towns, and there are a lot of boys and girls who live in this town. And to know where they live, we need to know exactly. We have to have a system of finding out where they live and give addresses. Well, now in this town, they made a strict law. It's much different from many towns. They said everything that runs from north to south is going to be a street. And they didn't have pathways or boulevards, courses, anything like that. They just had everything that ran in this direction was called an avenue.
Next point now. 2nd Street and 6th Avenue. 2nd Street and 6th Avenue. Glenn?
So far, even Mom and Dad can follow the teacher, but it gets tougher. This particular lesson may have resulted from yesterday's meeting of the writing team, or it may be a revision of material which is already with some success. When the fall term of school began this year, some 200 classes in 16 states using material which had been designed, written, and tested by the Minimac faculty and laboratory groups such as elementary school teacher Richard Briggs teaches during the regular year in New Jersey. While small groups of the project's faculty to the classroom to approve the day's production, Griggs kept the youngsters in their task of finding the right answers to his problems. He often no shortcuts, such as dropping a number from one side of the equation to another. Many of us can remember using methods such as those. They usually left us unable to prove why we arrived at our answer.
Anybody to come up with any kind of suggestion as to what kind of a pattern we may be from the points? Eileen?
A line.
A line. What kind of a line?
A straight line.
A straight line. Eileen suggests possibly a straight line. What was the name of this bookmark?
And from the basic knowledge of graph construction, the students proceed to find new answers.
X, what's going to happen to Y? Just how many points is that?
This new type of mathematics course contains no hidden secrets. It main feature is the early introduction of geometrical terms, as early as kindergarten, familiarization with the concepts of mass, length, force, energy, and full confidence that the students can get the answers to any problem if they have enough time. A man by the name of J.W. Young advocated these principles in a book written in 1911, but until now they have been virtually ignored.
Rephrase the question. Remember, I said using neat pieces of information. People are giving me some good things, but you haven't listened to the rules of the game now. You got to play. This is my game. It's my pieces, so you got to play with my pieces.
Much of the credit for pushing for revisions in both science and mathematics belongs to Minimac director Professor Rosenblum, who cites proof that he's on the right track.
A group of about leading mathematicians from around the country met in Cambridge, Massachusetts to consider what would be an ideal school mathematics program, taking into account just what we know about mathematics and teaching, and forgetting all practical problems like training of teachers, financing, educational politics, public relations, and the like. They presented their recommendations last August as something that might become practical within 25 to 50 years. Now, it turns out that their recommendations agree with only very minor deviations with what we've been working on since 1959. And I think that a school system that works with one of our cooperating colleges, a school system which gets its new elementary teachers from one of our cooperating colleges, could very well have this kind of a program within 6 to 10 years.
To the question of why is it necessary to revise our mathematics and science curriculum, Dr. Rosenblum gives this answer.
We hardly tap the abilities of them. We have the least idea of what they can learn. What they're beginning to find out is that they can learn far more with pleasure, enjoyment, and excitement than anybody has given them credit, anybody has realized. And before we talk about what the limitations are, I think this is everything right now for what they can do and try and guide them and the schools and the teachers and materials to help them develop their abilities to a great extent.
The courses, as outlined by Dr. Rosenblum, are meant to stimulate junior, but often they seem to poor old dad. Some parents complain that their children are not ready to look at geometry at such an early age, and that they are being confused by the newer methods. Readily admit it wasn't the way they were taught.
How prepared do you think that the average parent is to help his or her child in this program once it gets into their school?
Well, when things that involve technical knowledge of mathematics and science, they won't be very well prepared for their children. And in fact, children may learn stuff faster than they do. But with calculations and material, plenty of opportunities for mathematical role. And you have stories for the parents to read to the children, and games to play with the children. And you'll probably have various hobby activities that the parents can do at home. So experiments with household equipment, things to do when one takes a walk.
Are we putting a little more of an entertainment feature into our teaching? Does that sound right?
Well, I think that all learning should be fun. Actually, there is no conflict. The ideas, materials are so fascinating. And mathematics and science, and probably in any other subject, that if materials really taught properly, then your problem is getting rid of the children. It's over.
Okay, now, are we ready? Really be on the floor. Especially the drum. You're the leader. I'm changing the rhythm all the time when I'm clapping like this, so when I get that thumb, you must play or something like that. Let's try.
The fair question at the moment would be, which category does this fit into, mathematics or science? It's mathematics, a special lesson on rhythm and symmetry to be exact. Minimath Research Assistant Arthur Maud calls this transitory symmetry, teaching through repeated musical patterns. These patterns soon become evident to the children as Maud teaches them out. Then the children, with an occasional laugh, repeat them on their instruments. And for the youngsters, it's certainly an easy way to learn. For the teacher, it demands a certain amount of patience, which perhaps the average math teacher does not have to produce.
Let's try a little easier one. I'll go thumb, and you go. Okay, here we go. Good, that's fine. Okay, everybody. You ready? You watching me? You got all your right notes. Let's see if you've got your right notes here. If you can't keep that quiet, I think you'll have to try somebody else on that. Here we go. Are you watching me? Matthew? There's last day. Okay, that sounds pretty good.
Of course, symmetry can be taught this way, too. A group participation for older children led by Richfield teacher Marlene Glaus. Minnesota can truly be considered one of the leading testing countries in the nation for new material. Demonstration classes such as these belong to the Minimath project during the summer. During the regular year, classes throughout 16 states find the same material. And in addition, the Minnesota National Laboratory, also a Minimath unit, tests new curriculum material for various national projects in some 550 schools. The laboratory segment tests materials for the upper grades.
Something very, very interesting. Because is it possible that other geometric figures other than circles have...
The earliest Minimath teams concentrated on material for 7th and 8th grades. However, most of the emphasis in the past 2 summers has been on work for 3rd grade and below. These youngsters are studying the principles of triangles under the direction of teacher Benny Powell. They are encouraged to use algebra as early as possible, which, incidentally, is the reason behind our title. T stands for 10. The T is used merely as an early introduction of letter terminology for the youngsters who haven't gotten into the X plus Y series yet. T plus 2 means 12, and 2T stands for 20, and so on.
That even high school students have when they're constructing triangles and other geometry.
All schools and individual teachers participating in this curriculum are volunteers. So what is Johnny learning in school? Pretty much the same subjects that you and I took, but for many, these subjects are coming to him in a far more interesting package. In just one moment, a look at an unusual course and at the science phase of Minimath.
It doesn't say that at all. These two numbers are coming out. There's not one number coming out. There's a 3 plus 2 coming out.
But how are you going to put them up there that are not integers? They don't know the name for any of them. Because there's a lot of names you've taught them.
Well,
Now, why did you teach them only the names of integers?
What is there?
Because in our background, we consider the integers to be the first thing we ought to learn the names for. But why?
let me ask you this. I don't want to avoid your question.
This is a writing student assigned the task of preparing material for second and third grade mathematics. Some 30 top educators have taken part in this phase of the overall program during the past week. The production of this curriculum comes under the title of the Minnesota Mathematics and Science Teaching Project, or Minimast, not to be confused with the overall project title Minimath.
About this right in here. The use of the symbol greater than only.
Now, I have a question, John, for you here.
Do not put those blanks all on one side.
Did you say something at one time about preferring to have left hand first?
No.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that's what you mentioned. Greater. You prefer greater than? Greater than. This thing that BJ and I talked about last summer. We thought the greater than was the easier concept.
Going to the right.
Yes.
In other words, then, you say put it on the other side, you want to use it, yet it will mean less than.
During the past 2 summers at the demonstration classes, the youngsters have proven time and again that they are more than capable of solving seemingly difficult problems put to them by the writers. This apparently backs up Director Rosenblum's theory that our youngsters' potential is barely being tapped by the current curriculum present in most of our schools. This particular writing team is concerned with material for the early grades.
Read that the same way as it appears on the number line. Well, I was thinking the concept is greater than I think is easier for them to grasp. Now the symbol can be read both ways. The same symbol is quite necessary. But, you could write 2 plus 5 and read it 5 is greater than 2. Yeah. So I think you'll want to emphasize reading it as greater than and writing it that way. Which way do the symbols go?
You're normally right. A is
Oh,
in this way.
I think John's point. Now, our memory map is going to be placed on tape unit 4. That's where it'll give us our diagnostics.
Through the cooperation of the National Science Foundation and Control Data, another unit has been added to the Minimath program, a high school computer course. For the past 2 summers, a small group of students and teachers have met daily for classroom and computer operation sessions. The course is mainly one for students with high mathematical abilities, and it provides them with an opportunity to experiment with some phases of mathematics which previously were too difficult or took too long to complete. Operating at microseconds, the computer now offers mathematicians experimental techniques which were beyond the imagination of the old masters of mathematics.
As far as our tape units are concerned, on tape unit 1 we have our Fortran library tape. Now all of our Fortran programs, of course, are on the punch cards, which we put in the card reader. Now as these cards are being read, they're placed on tape unit 3. So we go from the card to tape unit 3. Tape unit 2 is our load and go. After we've compiled the program, the diagnostics and the memory map is put on tape unit 4. Now after we're through running all of our programs, then we will take
information from Case Unit 4 and we'll print it out on the printer.
The newest phase of the Minimast project is the science curriculum being developed on the campus of the University of Minnesota. Part of the science writing team, which is incidentally larger than the mathematics team, is staff artist Joseph Filson. His drawings will accompany the text material of the new courses. Again, like the mathematics courses, the new curriculum is designed to be interesting as well as educational. In fact, for the earlier grades, the emphasis is on instilling the proper attitude in the child so that he will be better prepared to study science in high school and college. It's not an unusual sight to see a member of the science team working with cartons, tin cans, pipe cleaners, or the like. This, incidentally, is a water clock, part of the equipment devised by William Schrankler of St. Paul. The students are encouraged to reason out the solutions for themselves. The material distributed by Minimast stresses experimentation with the textbooks offering guides. The reasoning is that if the student works out the solution for himself, he will retain more of what he learns. Science isn't the only phase of the program that needs very careful preparation. Mrs. Marjorie Luce of the Edina Public Schools is experimenting with a teaching aid which could possibly find its way into a Minimast text. It's actually a multiplication table. The table would be for the younger children. Again, would stress the visual answer to problems, allowing the youngsters to find the answer by manipulating the string. During the course of a year, pupils work in science classes may be called upon to build airplanes, take movies, or as these 5th and 6th graders are doing, build their own telescope. In this instance, the teacher, William Schrankler, carefully instructs the students on how to construct their telescopes. But it is up to the students to observe the sun and report their own findings. An important function of the writing team is to make sure that the activities suggested to each grade not only interesting, but within the capability of the students.
Yeah, I know, like the sun.
The interest of the students would be quickly lost if they were not able to accomplish the activity.
Remember the directions now. You're doing the month, 1 month after another. You're telling what season it's in. Remember I warned you about certain months.
The interest of first graders is captured in this contest, which challenges the children's knowledge of the seasons. The time-minute segment of their class is a fairly extensive one, involving a number of activities. This particular one is directed by Hartford, Connecticut teacher Howard Stackpole.
Snowball fight, good one. Say it, you go to the end of the line. That's right, you're right. All right, February, Clinton, make snowman. Now listen carefully to this now, go ahead. Take your seat. What's that, September?
October.
Okay, what season is that? What's the season is that? Oh, yeah, don't help him. You lose a period.
Winter and summer.
Take your seat.
The final word on this revision of our school curriculum comes from the co-director of the science phase of Minimast, Dr. James Wernz of the University of Minnesota. We asked him, how sudden was this desire for new teaching?
There's nothing of a suddenness about it. I think it's the fact that it appears sudden, and there is a certain change in level of activity in developing materials and so on. There's no question about the fact that there is a sudden change in activity, but it's not the result of Sputniks or what have you. It's the result of finally, at very long last, mostly the scientific community becoming aware of the fact that not very much is going on. For example, the grades in science. A great deal can go on, and we ought to. We have the responsibility, in fact, to develop what can be developed in the grades and kindergarten.
From Squareville to the fee that has taken the place of 10 to the science and mathematics courses, which have taken on a new appeal to our youngsters. That's the story of one of our nation's most ambitious programs to update the teaching of our children. Tonight's report is brought to you by Instant Fell Soap Granules, built-in fabric softener, Gentle Fell washing liquid with lanolin D, and Fell the cleaner, each from the Fells family of fine products. Each with something extra to make your work easier. WCCO Television Reports is a public affairs presentation of the WCCO Television News Department.